Hello, everyone, and welcome with my guest, Mary. Hello, Mary. How are you today?
Hi.
Hi.
Really, really nervous.
Fair enough. Is this your first stream with someone?
This is my first stream with someone ever. I normally stick to my own corner of YouTube.
I feel really, really honored. Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. So I have been a major fan of Mary for quite some time. I'm somewhat fangirling right now, to be honest with you. She is hilarious. She is funny. She is cute. She is sweet. She's feisty as all hell. I love it a bit. So everyone, please go and check the in the description below her amazing YouTube channel. And I also want to say thank you to everyone who's joined in. I can see people in the side chat. So Unholy Sarah, Osmond Cometh, Mama Atheist, Mr. Shadow Kitty, Stuttering Chris, who's also amazing. All of you are amazing, actually. So so thank you so much for coming. So Mary, can you please let us know who you are, what you do?
I'm a YouTuber that randomly basically posts about whatever I want. I mostly go after the NIFB and my own president. Lately, it's been racist. If you go to my channel, be prepared to deal with a bunch of racists because they're mad at me right now. I'm very good at ticking off anyone who goes after any minority. Seems to be my thing.
Yeah. Can everyone hear Mary, by the way? I hope you can.
I hope you can, because I don't have a mic. Oh my god, this is going to drive me crazy. I can't get myself centered, so just gonna watch me act like a weirdo.
Yeah.
That's me.
Okay. Mary, I think you're a bit loud. Is there a way to turn down your mic?
I don't know. Let me see. Settings. Audio.
Yeah.
And it's not allowing me to. That I can see it. I can try and talk quieter. I don't really like.
I can do that here.
It's not letting me do anything.
Properties. No, yeah. Oh.
Yeah, because I'm just in the mic on the laptop, and I don't think it.
Hang on, I'm just
bad. And then when I go to settings.
Actually, no, I can't see how to do that. So yeah, if you could try and talk a bit quieter, that's the best I can do.
I'm sorry, guys. My husband says I'm naturally too loud anyway, so maybe we'll train me to talk quieter in the stream.
Just take a step back from the computer.
Let's see if that works. Is that any better, guys?
A little.
Sorry, I'm so sorry, guys.
Actually, okay. Did that make me quieter? I'm just waiting for the chat to catch up. Did that make me quieter? Chat? Because I think I just turned you down. But I don't know who's who. So I turned someone down. I just don't know if it was you or me, Mary.
Well, let's see if is it any better, guys? I'm talking, I don't know, that window is going to drive me crazy. I didn't realize you could see it, and it's open for the cats, and that's going to drive me absolutely insane looking at it.
That's all right. Okay, so Ricardo, is that yes? Does that mean that I turn myself down?
Or am I still too loud?
Sorry about this. Anyway, well, while the chat is letting us know who's too loud and who's not too loud, actually, I think. Can you say something again?
Yeah. Hi. Sorry, guys. I'm really, really stupid nervous. I never ever do lives ever.
Okay, I think I might have fixed it because Yeah, I turned myself down. That was smart because clearly I know how to do OBS.
I don't know what I'm doing either, so we'll figure it out as we go, I guess.
Okay. Anyway, so we are here to talk about stupidity because that's what we like to torture ourselves with.
Yeah, basically.
Uh, okay. Now I've muted myself. I mean,
Excuse our technical difficulties while we laugh at ourselves. If you can't laugh, then you cry, and I prefer to laugh, so
fair enough.
let's just laugh through it. Okay, wait. Stop
Okay.
banging my hand.
Okay. 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 Can you ask the chat because clearly can you ask the chat if you can hear me? Okay, so I'm
Can
not
you
muted right
turn?
now.
Okay, so we can hear nobody. Yay!
Can you hear Mary? I hate OBS. I really hate it.
At least we're having a good time. I
Yeah,
mean,
why
it
not?
could be a lot worse. It could be a lot worse. We could literally be over in my stream listening to people tell me how horrible I am on a daily basis. So,
Thanks, B-Sob. All right,
you do
okay.
realize some of the NIFB people are going to come here and be like, we're both terrible people and should go die in a hole, right?
Probably. That's all right. Bring it, bitches. Anyway.
They like to stalk my feed, my Instagram, my Twitter, anywhere I go. They like to follow around and be like, she's evil and she should die. So you're associated with me now. So
I'm
welcome to
in.
guilt by association.
Yay!
Thank you so
But
much.
to be honest with you, I'd rather be guilty by association with you than the NIFB. So
Yeah, believe me, I'm
yeah. Okay. So now
you
that
know
we've
weird thing?
what's a weird thing?
Oh, sorry, go.
No, you go. You go.
I was just gonna say that they're taking the pandemic more seriously than normal people are.
That's
I'm
weird.
weirded out by it.
That is weird.
Yeah, I'm weirded out
That
by
is
it.
weird. Okay. Okay, let's start again so I can do an actual timestamp of stupidity just beforehand. Now let's talk about it because we're 10 minutes in because, I seem to have a fantastic track record of having good audio when it comes to OBS. Okay, so who are you, Mary, and what's going on for you?
Hi, I am a YouTuber who basically I go after anyone who the NIRB is my particular specialty, but I go after anybody who's racist, goes after a group of minority, and I go after politics. And I tend to tick people off constantly. It's my thing.
But the good news is you tick the wrong people off, so.
But I've made it my specialty. I mean, ask Nervati. I'm always posting my ridiculously hate comments.
Oh, some of them are beautiful, absolutely gorgeous.
Special. So if you're ever looking for a good laugh, just go check out my comment section.
It's just gorgeous.
Special.
It is gorgeous. As I said, like between you, Surus, and Telltale, like there's just an entire stream of laughing at people in there. Like it's incredible.
Yeah, they're special. Their group is special. They're special. But we're gonna piss off pandemic people today because
Yay!
oh my god, is this stupid here stupid?
Because it's not like the pressure of us at all. Okay, so there's a couple of things that I can get on my high horse with, but can you high horse it for me because your high horse is much higher than my high horse.
Well, first off, I'm particularly adamant about this subject because there are two members of my family that live in my house that are both extremely high risk. My husband has an autoimmune disorder, and my mom went through chemo, and that caused heart and kidney damage. So she gets this. Both my family members could die, and people don't seem to be taking it seriously, nor do they care. I have to watch people say, well, y'all should just stay at home, but we still have to go out and get groceries. We still have to go to the doctor. We still have to do things, and we can't do that if people won't do things like put on a mask and just stay at home for 2 months so that the virus goes down instead of flattening out.
Yeah. It is one of the things that really has annoyed me personally is the absolute lack of trust in science. Me being
Oh my god.
a
Yeah.
science student, I haven't finished my degree because, ironically, COVID-19 is stopping me from finishing it because I've got three courses left and all of them are based in a lab. So as far as I'm concerned, I've finished my degree because, I'm just finishing off those last three courses.
Yeah.
But again, they're all in a lab, so I can't do it. Hooray! Anyway, so I've done all the rest of the hard yards, and oh, thanks, Bo. You guys, hello, letting you play for support. Off to bed. Also, Greenpeace is the only one getting a form of benefit from this pandemic. Not saying they did it. Anyway, so yeah, so I have done a course a few years ago called for what was it? Infectious diseases, and that was a fascinating course. And of course, we did touch on vaccines. And the lecturer, when I asked in a recorded session about, oh, what do you think of anti-vaxxers? She's like, oh, people have their rights to believe whatever they do. When it wasn't a recorded session, she was like, the fucking anti-vaxxers, fuck, I want to fucking...
That's my response to anti-vaxxers too. Screw you. Just screw you.
It was, oh my goodness, it was just because she's one of the people who's researching a vaccine for malaria. And the reason why malaria is so difficult to do a vaccine is it is not, it's a parasite. Making a vaccine for a parasite rather than a bacterial infection or viral infection is much more difficult because it's multicellular. And it also has a really complicated life cycle that also can hide away in the spleen and is not attacked by the immune system. So there's this is a few years ago, but I think there was 4 or 5 major parts of the life cycle for malaria. So that's why malaria vaccine is really, really, really hard to get. But the fact that they're making headways to create a vaccine against malaria is really impressive. Even though the ones that they brought out, it's 40% effective or something like that. 40% of people respond and produce antibodies for malaria, which is really low. But considering how incredibly complicated the disease is, it's actually pretty impressive. Anyway, that's me, just going on a bit of a...
Well, no, that's actually really fascinating. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You're on the science end, and I'm on that sad homeschool education end, where my science education included humans riding dinosaurs. So I'm still playing a massive amount of catch up here.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I do want to talk and start making science videos for people who have been homeschooled and has not had and needs to catch up to basic final year biology, chemistry, that sort of
That would be
stuff.
so useful.
Yeah,
So
so
useful.
if anyone in the chat or who's watching this later would like to, who's gone through homeschooling, and just let me know what would be the most useful thing for you to do, and I can just start up a little playlist of things like evolution and stuff. Yeah, because I feel that's a needed thing.
Yes. Or so we can just, for those of us who can't explain it that well, can just link it to the idiots that are like, vaccines are invented by Bill Gates, who wants to put a microchip in your arm. No, he doesn't. No, what? Why would he? No, people, no. I see that all the time. I have family members. I just stopped being friends with one of my friends because she wouldn't stop posting that. I'm like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah,
I love you, but
and
he's not trying to.
The thing is, it's really freaking stupid, but we gotta wonder, where does this come from? Why is this okay to say these things? Like where is it? Like, because it doesn't come from a vacuum. This doesn't come from a vacuum, and we all know that there's an anti-vaxxer thing. Thank you, fuck you, and fuck you, Andrew Wakefield. To like, where did this come from? Like the microchip things and stuff.
I have a suspicion that sometimes it's just people on the internet that are bored, and then other times I have no idea, because they're more willing to believe a meme from a nameless Facebook person that doesn't have a face and they just created their profile yesterday, and then they are the scientific paper that I just tried to present them as actual evidence. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I find it frustrating.
It is very frustrating. And imagine being Bill Gates, doing all of this stuff, and then opening Facebook one day and finding out that he's like
the enemy. Well, even that, when I said that the Bill and whatever her name is, I can never remember his wife's name, but they created that vaccine program that went through, I think it was India at one point, and completely vaccinated against polio. And they're like, well, they weren't personally giving out the shots. And I'm like, no, but they did fund it, and there were people waiting in lines to get these vaccines. And we casually were like, we don't want them. For places like that, polio was still a thing up until I think, 90s, 80s, and now?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh.
So one of the things, and I can actually see where this comes from. A lot of people talk about how polio vaccine causes polio, and that is true in very rare cases. In fact, I think 2016, quite recently, don't quote me on the year, but quite recently there was a experience. They found out that there are more more cases of polio derived from vaccines than there are from actual wild caught. Because and the reason is that one of the oral polio vaccine, so the is an attenuated virus. So an attenuated virus is the whole virus, but it's been weakened by being stored in freezers or being weakened by formaldehyde or something like that. So it's the same thing, but it's just been treated to the point where it's weakened, and that causes the immune system to happen. However, on very rare occasions, I think it's approximately 1 in 500 cases, it reverts back to the full-blown polio.
Wow.
Yeah. So there are now, quite fairly recently, they're actually asking the question: should we continue administering the oral polio vaccine, because there's more polio-derived vaccines, more polio derived from the vaccine than actual wild vaccine, where they're kind of going like the cost benefit, which is excellent news, because that means we've almost wiped out polio from the world.
Which is really, really good news. People don't understand that either.
Yeah. So yes, there is a tiny risk of polio happening because of that. There is a tiny risk, but it's but yeah, if it was like if we go back 40 years ago, then there'd be no question about it. So so polio is looking to be the second disease to be eradicated from the planet, which is.
What was the first one? Like I said, my science education is.
That was smallpox.
Really?
Yeah. So smallpox. This is a fun fact, fun and interesting story. So the reason why we call them vaccines is that I can't even remember the guy. Like, it was like 1800s. I'm sure the people could tell me in the chat. He noticed that the milkmaids who were
I know that story.
Yeah, who had cowpox was immune to smallpox. He just noticed that. So what he did was he infected a kid with cowpox, and then after the kid recovered from cowpox, he infected them with smallpox and they didn't get sick. That was ethics back in the 1800s. So that's why we call them vaccines, because vaca means cow in a lot of Latin-derived languages like Spanish, Italian. Yeah, so that's why we call them vaccines. And
learn something new every day.
And some quite a lot of diseases can't be eradicated because they also exist in other animals. So, for example, tuberculosis is you can't eradicate because that survives in other animals. This COVID-19 thing may, since it's sweeping through the human population, it may be able to be transferred because it was a zoonotic disease. But things like smallpox, measles, polio, those sorts of diseases where the only animal it infects is humans, we can eradicate.
Good to know. Didn't know that either. Like I said, when it comes to that, it's what I research, and that's about it. And I can still talk that NIFB people who are convinced that the vaccines still come from recently aborted babies, and I'm just like, no.
No, that one's also a lie. It comes from a cell line that originated in 2 electively aborted fetuses in the 1960s. Yep. So if you consider that to be a cell line, if you consider the cell line to be an aborted fetus, that would be like saying, I don't know, it's immoral to use a vaccine that comes from a human that gave up their skin from their elbow, kind of thing. Like, it just, no.
Doesn't, yeah. You can tell them no, and you can give them the links, but they're not going to listen. Just like the other really big COVID myth going around right now, especially since we just started getting a decent amount of testing, is that all the swabs are already lined with COVID. So if you go in, you're going to get sick. If you get a test, it's going to make you sick. And I'm like,
why? Why do people think that? It's like,
I
wish people would just sit down and think, why would the government want this?
Well, when I actually asked that question to the friend that was the conspiracy theorist, I asked her, like, what does the government get out of this? And she goes, well, hospitals get a certain amount of money for every COVID patient that they get. So making people sick gets them money. Yeah, and I'm like...
But that doesn't make any sense because the government is losing money.
And economy is sinking. And then the hospitals that are getting the money from that are still losing the revenue from elective surgeries, from people being too afraid to go in. So they're losing more money than they're gaining by making you sick. But they're absolutely convinced. Or the other thing that I'm hearing is the death count is fake. It's all over my Facebook stream. The death count is fake. If you get hit by if you get hit by a bus and you have COVID, they diagnose it as COVID. And I'm sitting there going, no, what they're talking about when you are sick is like with my mother. If she goes in and she's diagnosed with COVID, even though she's relatively healthy now, if it causes a heart problem on top of the heart problem she already has, it's a comorbidity, and that is what is killing her. Both things together, not just a heart condition, but they're like, it should be labeled the heart condition and not COVID. I'm like, but she wouldn't have died if she hadn't got sick. Same thing with my husband. He's relatively healthy. On medication, perfectly healthy. But he gets this, and it goes through, and it messes with other systems. He doesn't have the medication he's on literally affects his ability to fight it off.
Yeah.
So they would want his condition to be labeled as his cause of death, not the COVID, even though COVID is not technically... or even though COVID is technically what killed him, not that. So if you have anything outside of COVID that adds to the death rate, they're saying that it doesn't count. That is what you're seeing. And the president, I don't know if you pay attention to Donald Trump's tweets on a daily basis, but he's pushed that conspiracy theory. He was pushing today some weird voter conspiracy theory that we're all going to vote in the mail and not be real people. So the president is pushing half of these conspiracy theories that I have to fight. Or I wanted to scream yesterday when he posted live that he was taking hydrochloroquine. A, he's not taking it. There's no way he's taking it. And if his doctors recommended it to him, they're giving him sugar pills. They're like, yes, this is hydrochloroquine. Enjoy your sugar pill. Good boy.
Although there is a
Or when
part of me
the-
that wants. I do actually hope that I'm hearing an echo. No, okay. Yeah, I kind of do hope he is taking it. To be honest with you, not because I wish ill on him, but if he does die, then that's going to cause a lot
people
of
to take it seriously.
yeah, people are going to start taking it more seriously. Like
don't-
I don't want anyone to die, but sometimes people do actually have to see this. Anyway,
Yeah, they have to see it in their hometown. Or the other question that drives me absolutely crazy is, well, have you seen anyone has gotten sick? And I'm like, well, I live in the middle of nowhere. Even though it's pretty rampant and high here, as long as I stay at home or I only go through like drive-thrus, I'm not exposed to anyone. So no, I'm not going to see anyone that gets sick. We're careful. We only go to Walmart when we have to. Or we go, if we're going out to eat, it's strictly drive-thru where we don't touch anyone or anything. And so we don't see people. But Chris is from Long Island. And so his friends, nurse friends of his are posting today, my job was to move bodies. And I'm like, you may not actually see it, but there are people in my husband's life who are actually, that's their job right now. Their job, well, it's not anymore, I hope. But their job a few weeks ago, literally, their assigned job was to help move bodies.
yeah, it's awful. I just did see a little bit earlier, Stuttering Chris, who is awesome.
Hi, Chris. You are adorable.
He is gorgeous.
Yes,
I love
I
him.
adore him.
He did write a post saying that llamas actually have antibodies for COVID-19, which is pretty freaking cool. So
That is cool.
yeah. Do you want me to explain how viruses jump from certain types of viruses jump from species to species?
Yes, because then if I can steal this clip and put it on something when I have to argue with someone. So yes, please do. That would make my life easier.
Okay, so this is I'm only focusing on a particular type of flu, but what happens is there's a particular, I think this is going back. Oh, this is going back about 2-3 years, but I remember thinking, wow, this is really interesting. So there's a couple of different types of flu, like the H1N1 and things like that. And I think it's the H1 flu, so you're going to have to double check on this one, where it infects the cell. So viruses, do you know how viruses work?
Not really.
Okay. So
I'm stupid.
No, you're not stupid. You're not stupid at all. This is actually quite advanced science where most people kind of go, oh, like this is not you being uneducated. I'm going to put my foot down and go, no, anyone who thinks themselves stupid because they haven't heard information, you're wrong. Being uneducated does not mean you're stupid. You can be incredibly intelligent but uneducated. Okay? So get out. If you're educated and then stupid, there's a difference. But being uneducated is not being stupid. Okay, that was my soapbox. Anyway, so there's a type of virus that so viruses, what they do is they're basically RNA, and RNA has uracil rather than thymine as a nucleotide. I've done 2 videos in the past couple of weeks based on DNA and mutations and PCR and things like that. So if you want to find out more what I'm talking about, please go and check out my channel, because shameless plug.
We said I watch her. I've adored her. What, 9 months now? I've been adoring your channel for like 9 months. Yeah, I think it's about 9 months. So
something like that, yeah. And so it's got some RNA floating around in a capsule. And then what it does is it's got proteins on the outside or sugars on the outside, depending on the virus. And it searches out and it finds a protein or a sugar on the outside of a cell that it goes, aha, that's cool. I think I can connect to you, and it connects quite well to that particular thing. Tells the cell to open up. And it injects the RNA into the cell, And what it does is the RNA uses the machinery inside the cell to replicate its RNA, and it basically you did know that bit.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm trying to work through a science paper that explains that. So yeah, that part I actually did know.
And it's pretty high level. This is pretty high level science. Now I think you'll find most people don't know this stuff, so don't stress. And so what happens after that is is they figure out that so basically what happens is the RNA just basically, how would I explain this? Like a terrorist group will enter a production facility, and this production facility starts makes chairs, for example, and then the terrorists come in to the people who are making the chairs and say, no, you have to make beds. And so the workers start making beds, and that's probably the closest analogy I can think of to what viral DNA does. And so instead of making chairs, it starts making beds, and it might make so many beds the virus will make the cell explode, or it starts making beds and then they let some beds out at the same time, which go around and turn miraculously into more terrorists who then go infect other cells that make the beds. So anyway, I know it's a terrible analogy, but this is probably the closest I can try and make it.
It makes sense to the paper that I'm trying to work my way through, because just for anyone who's like me or wants to be like me, I have a tendency to sit there with a dictionary and a scientific paper and try to figure out what the scientific paper is trying to tell me via the dictionary. So it can take me like 2 or 3 weeks to get through the paper, but it sounds very similar to what I'm trying to work my way through right now, because there's a whole paper on it. And like I said, I sit there with a dictionary. I look stupid, but it works.
No, you're doing the right thing, and everyone needs to advocate for their own understanding. Yeah, absolutely. Advocate your own understanding. Good on you for actually.
I get called weird for it. So.
Good on you for attacking scientific papers, because reading something in sound bites is much easier than slogging through scientific papers.
Well, you don't get the information that you need from sound bites, and so it may take me a while to get through something, but I feel like I have a better understanding when I sit there with the. Like I said, people call me weird and a freak, but it is what it is.
Look, if being interested in looking for the truth and understanding truth is considered to be a weirdo freak thing, then sign me up, baby. Sign me up.
Well, remember, I grew up in the IFB, so looking outside of anything outside the Bible is heavily frowned upon. So, yeah.
Well, well done for you giving the fingers to people.
Yeah, well, I still, it's. I will admit, it's sometimes hard when you're the only person and you're like, Chris isn't, because Chris is raised pretty much atheist, and then I live with my mom who thinks the world is 3,000 or 6,000 years old, so I'm still surrounded by people. Everyone in my sphere is still, I may think I'm insane and going to hell often.
Well, I'll be there, so I'm looking forward to catching up. So
I figure if it's hell, it's going to be like what I'm already living in. Donald Trump's going to be president. Science is not going to be a real thing. So I'm already living in it, so it can't be any worse than what I am already trying to live through right now.
It's just the needles under the fingernails. That's probably going to be the only difference, really, isn't it?
I've been told there's some flames, but I like heat, so I should be all right. And I am, according to most people, being a ginger, I'm soulless, so I won't feel it anyway.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go.
Yeah, it's fine. Okay, so going back onto why zoonotic diseases. So it is the closer a species is genetically, the more likely you're going to have zoonotic disease. So zoonotic disease obviously means it goes from one person to the next, like from one species to the next. So remember how I said like polio, smallpox, measles, they only infect humans?
Yes.
then that's not a zoonotic disease. That's why you can have a cat that has cat flu, but you won't get it because the genetic makeup of those particular diseases don't have the same physical ability to attach itself to the outside of a human cell. So, yeah. But the closer an animal is genetically, the more likely it is to jump. So, for example, there's some ecotourists that like to go and look at great apes like gorillas, chimpanzees in the wild. They have to have a minimum of 150 meters from the other animal, because excuse me, because they could be carrying a disease that is completely fine for humans, because we have our own unique diseases, that if it jumps into the ape population, like the gorilla population, would do to the gorilla population what COVID-19 is doing to us. Yeah, because all it needs is a little bit of a mutation, a bit of a conformation change, and the disease can enter the cells. And once the disease enters the cells and starts using its machinery to get more of the virus out, then it just completely wipes out the animal's immune system. And that's why COVID-19 has been so fast spreading throughout the entire population, is because it's a novel disease. We haven't seen it before. Our immune systems have not seen it before. So nobody...
Thank you for explaining that to people. Sorry, it's just that nobody seems to understand, because, oh my God, another one of the other myths that I'm seeing all the time is that COVID-19 stands for the 19th strain of COVID. And I'm like, that's not what it means at all.
When it was discovered in 2019.
Yes, and people think that we've had it before, and I'm just like, no, it did not.
By the way, see you later, Susan. Hi, Nodja. I think I said hello to Brainbug, but hello anyway. Joe, buddy. Hi, how you going? There you goes, another shameless plug. Berkeley has distributed computing programs called Boink. That's beautiful. 2 of the partner projects are called Rosetta and the World Community Grid. They work on understanding the virus. So thank you very much for joining in, everyone. Sorry for interrupting. I just wanted to say hello and thank you to the peoples.
Well, I just wanted to do that because when you were talking about the whole, like, it's novel, I wanted to jump in and be like, there are people, especially in I'm going to call them the Trump sphere, because it's just the best way I can do it right now, that seem to think that there's 19 strains of it, that we've seen it before, or that it's completely and totally made up. So just wanted to put that out there so that when I sound clip this later if I need to, people can understand. It is not, once again, it is not the 19th version of this virus. It was the year it came out. They have been very clear about that. Because Kellyanne Conway was like, yeah, this is the 19th strain. And I'm like, the disinformation coming out of the White House is going to drive me insane.
That's totally irresponsible. Utterly
insane. It is, and she has to know better. She's not that stupid. If I can figure that out, she obviously is not that stupid. And if she is, why is she advising the President of the United States? Because I'm pretty sure toddlers could do a better job at this point.
I just want to point out that people who follow Trump are not stupid, generally. A lot of people. I'm just going to give the benefit of the doubt, but I do actually want to say that Trump is a cult leader. According to Stephen Hassan, he is a cult leader. The whole thing is a cult. So please approach Trump people with love and respect.
It's kind of hard when they're coming in my DMs threatening to murder me. But yes,
I understand that one too.
I have family members. Like, I understand that not every Trump supporter is evil. I still have a large chunk of my family. Thank goodness it's not my mom, or I'd be following him around the house every day, telling her all the way he's wrong. But I do have family members that they're not bad people per se. They just don't listen to any information outside of Fox News. Like, if I try to show them something that isn't Fox News or Breitbart, or I can't even think of the other one. Oh, ONN, which ONN makes me want to beat my head against a wall.
I've heard of ONN. I've heard it's actually worse than Fox News.
So bad. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's so bad. It's so bad. It's let's just say that it's Fox meets Breitbart meets a tiny bit of racism and then steroids. Is the best way to describe it. It's so bad. It takes news from the Associated Press and it'll release that throughout the day so it can claim that it's an actual news source. And then it will push conspiracy theories through its late night like opinion hosts, kind of like Fox does. But they're worse because you spill in a little bit more racism and that's what you got.
Yeah. A good website, if you haven't heard of it, is Media Bias Fact Checks. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
That's a great.
Yeah, you need to make sure that you have that as a save tab on your computer, because you need to make sure.
And even the sad thing is that even when I show family members or people in my life that they do have this extreme bias or to say that it tries to twist things, they then call that website a liberal hoax.
Like Snopes. Everyone says that Snopes is unreliable, yet it's won awards.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't use that in an argument anymore because people are like, it's unreliable and it's not true. And I'm sitting there going, you believe Obama's birth certificate is fake, so I'm just going to go over here now. I love you and you are related to me, but I can't.
Yeah, the problem is, I might be a bit unfair here, but I do honestly blame I blame religion for this, because it teaches people how to make excuses.
And that's the thing. Okay, so for general reference, just to give you a general idea of how bad religion plays in this, there's an old IFB church constantly from the pulpit preaches about how Trump is always right, how he was God anointed. He was picked by God to be the president. Every Sunday, that is part of their thing, that he's God anointed, he was picked, he's the chosen one, you have to listen to him. Everyone else is out to get you. It's literally the devil is trying to tell you other information. And I'm sitting there going, no, I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that one, because no, religion plays a major part in that here. And what drives me absolutely the most insane about religion playing a major part is that they don't have to pay taxes. They can literally tell you who to vote for, but they don't have to pay taxes. And then it ends up going into the pockets of the preachers. They use it to buy their houses and nice cars. I mean, I've seen some churches around here that their people are basically starving and their pastor drives a freaking Lexus. And I'm going, you're spending 10% of the income you don't have to pay for this dude's stuff, but you think you're doing God's will. And that is I'm deep south, that is fairly common. I'm talking about churches that have 1,000 or more people in them. And then while they're doing that, they're also pushing Trump. And then they're going.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
It is. And they've been so indoctrinated and so brainwashed to think that that's the right thing to do. And that if they just give that $5 to $10 or that $100 or whatever, they're going to get that money back tenfold when they're not eating now, because
it's horrible.
I have an issue with church.
Yeah. Fair enough. Anyway, going back, because it was like,
sorry.
No, this is good. I'm actually really enjoying this this conversation, and the fact that you're
my scattered brain.
Oh, don't worry, I understand it totally. But so going back, so what I was saying is that when a particular type of flu enters the cell, sometimes there's also the same type of flu, because there's multiple different types of flu, but that come under the same class. So the same class of flu that is infectious to a human may also be there. So what they do is they recombine. So they go, oh, hey, dude, you're in this flu, this cell. Yeah, hey, let's join forces. So they combine. So all of a sudden, you've got the flu from this animal in the cell of another of the animal that the same type of flu, and it recombines because often they don't have any proof checking mechanisms, like proofreading mechanisms. And so what it does is it turns out from being a disease that kind of infects you, but doesn't do a very good job because it doesn't have the physical capabilities to enter a cell, to being very good at infecting you because it has those mechanisms. Like it has the physical capabilities to enter cells. But also because the proteins that it's showing on the outside of the capsule or whatever, it is different enough in the person's immune system doesn't recognize them as being infectious, which is why it leaves it alone. So that's how how vaccines work, is by giving a part of the cell, like a part of the disease, which then causes memory T cells to be able to hunt down, go, aha, I recognize you, and attach them and destroy the disease before it gets out of hand. We don't have that, not at all in our biological history. We don't have that, and that is why we as a group, we as a species, is being being so badly affected by this disease, is because we've never seen it before at all in our evolutionary past.
What's she saying? Listen, people, please. Anyone from my grandmother would, please. She's explaining this better than I could. This is exactly what I've been trying to tell you for weeks. Yes, thank you. I bow to the Queen of Science. Thank you. Yes, that.
So Ricardo, Oliveira, I'm sorry, I just destroyed your name. Hook proteins. That's the name of the. Yeah. So thank you, Ricardo. Yeah, so that's why also we need our flu shot every year, because
different strands. Yeah.
Well, it's not different. Sorry. It's different. It's the most common strains. A lot of people say the flu shot doesn't work, but it does.
Really? It does. I hate that statement too.
It does. It is an attenuated viral, and there's 4. It's quadrivalent. Unfortunately, there's thousands of strains of the flu. But what it does is that 4 of the main flus have, they choose the most common. So imagine if you've got, let's talk about battlefield. You've got, they've got like foot soldiers, cavalry. Sorry, this is my my fantasy background coming out of. So foot soldiers, cavalry. Then you've got maybe archers and mages, for example, and they've got 100,000 foot soldiers and three mages. Then you might go, all right, you're only allowed to take one out. You would one of this group out. You would choose 100,000 foot soldiers because you're more likely to wipe out an army if you take away all of 50% of the army. So that's basically what quadrivalent flu shots do. Is it chooses the 4 most common, which tends to be like a huge chunk of the flu that they're vaccinating against. So it just brings down and it flattens the curve. If the majority of people get their flu shots, it'll bring it down because the flu does kill people. Like it actually does.
And I don't know if you've heard it, like in the United States, where they're talking about our second wave coming when the flu comes, and they're begging people to get the flu shot because it'll be easier to tell what you've got versus that, and will also protect. I don't know what it is in flu shots, but I'm allergic to something in flu shots. I will have some sort of reaction every time I have a flu shot. So I can't get the flu shot, but everyone around me.
Are you allergic to egg?
No, see, that would think that would be the most common, but no, I'm not allergic to egg. I have no idea what it is, but I break out everywhere, and I break out in hives. But I don't know. I don't know what it is. I just know that the flu shot and I have never gotten along since I was like 10 or 11. I used to get it every year, and then all of a sudden I started breaking out in massive amount of hives every time I got it. Don't know why.
That's
but
annoying.
everybody around me gets the flu shot. But they're saying that it's going to be a huge wave mixed with the flu, and so many people around here don't believe in getting their flu shot, and they don't believe in wearing masks. So please listen to everyone else in the scientific community and get your freaking flu shot. So this isn't as bad as it has to be. So we don't have to sit here and argue about whether they have the flu or whether they have COVID. If you have your flu shot, then it's probably COVID. So just save us all the hassle and get a freaking flu shot. Yeah. That's my soapbox for the day. Get a freaking flu shot.
One of the fears that I have is if the flu and COVID-19 is able to cross, like, do what I told you.
Dr. Fauci was talking about that, how bad it would be if it was able to do that. And understood nothing about what he was saying in that interview, but he was talking about that where they could come together and it would be really bad.
Recombines, so. That if that happened, then we're fucked. We're fucked.
Oh, don't worry, hydrochloroquine will save you. I'll be okay. Just take your hydrochloroquine.
Yeah. Because that's not considered to be a bad idea at all.
It's not. It's not causing heart issues or heart palpitations
it's not needed at all by people who have, legitimate diseases like lupus. Nah.
No, it's perfectly good. And forget that Donald Trump and his family have stock in it. That has nothing to do with why he's pushing it. Not at all.
No.
It had everything to do with the fact that it works and you should take it all the time. Seeing as how we're talking about this, do you know that there are I'm seeing homemade recipes for it now? People are telling you how to mix things to actually make it.
Yeah, that's not a great idea.
I'm like, how are you gonna do this? Like, what exactly are you gonna make here? Because the fish tank cleaning lady didn't work so well. So, what exactly are you thinking you're gonna make? And I just like, because somebody posted, I did not. Once again, comes to like conspiracy theorists in my family. They posted some sort of recipe to something, and I'm just like, I'm gonna scroll past this before I get really mad and say something I'm gonna regret. Because do not post homemade recipes for medication online. That just sounds about the same as drinking bleach. I'm just putting it out there.
Pretty much would be the same.
Pretty much. Or, I never got a chance to tell you, and I wanted to tell you so bad. Do you know that there's actually someone that suggested Donald Trump's disinfectant wasn't talking about bleach or Lysol, but they were talking about how you could inject people with formaldehyde? When you mentioned formaldehyde earlier, because they were talking about it's used in vaccines, they were like, well, we can just inject people with formaldehyde, it'll work the same. And I'm sitting there going, that was pretty much my response when someone told me that. I was like, do you know what would happen if you did that? Do you know? I mean, I know that I'm not the most science educated here, but I remember reading when I was going through history that they used to do that to kill people. So,
yes. So the thing that people who are anti-vaxxers don't understand is that the majority of a vaccine is water.
I'm sorry, that's just, it's true.
Like, they're like, oh, it's got all of these horrible disease. You're looking at like micrograms of the shit.
Well, they were absolutely convinced that it was formaldehyde, and formaldehyde was the next big save.
Formaldehyde is used as a preservative. Fuck. I
meant to tell you that a while ago, because I thought you'd get a kick out of that when someone actually tried to, and then they went to Google and showed me where it's listed as a disinfectant, and they're like, you can inject this in the body. It's put in vaccines, so you could put it into people and it would work. And I'm just like,
do people not realize that, like,
this is what I deal with.
What? Okay. For those people who are watching this, there's something called the LD50, and the LD50 is considered to be the amount of a chemical or a substance that is required to kill 50% of rats generally, because we don't think it's particularly ethical to test this idea on humans. Okay, so The LD50 of something goes by milligrams per kilogram or grams per kilogram. It depends on how lethal this particular chemical is. So the LD50 of something could be like 500 grams per kilogram. So if you consume half your weight in body per kilogram of your body, like literally half your body weight of this particular chemical, you have a 50% chance of dying. Going by rat ideas, because as we said, it's not particularly considered to be ethical to test this on humans. So the LD50 of something like dimethyl mercury is something like a microgram per 70 kilograms or something like that. You put 2 drops on your skin and you're dead. It's really, really, really dangerous. But and I'm getting this from the back of my memory of my my thimerosal video. So have you seen that, Mary? My thimerosal.
I have not. I'll have to go back. Is it a recent one or is it a little further back?
It's a little further back. I think I released it in December.
Yeah, December was a little bit busy. I'll go back.
Yeah. So yeah, that if you want to talk about how thimerosal is not deadly, watch that video. It's got a lot of information in it, so you might want to watch it 2 or 3 times. But thimerosal has a much higher LD50. It's like 70 something milligrams per kilogram, which is actually pretty high for a medical thing. And they put micrograms worth of thimerosal into vaccines. Same with formaldehyde. They'd put micrograms because all they're trying to do is kill bacteria. And I hate to break this to you, but bacteria weighs a bit less than a human person. So yeah, if the LD50 is taken off kilograms, then and a microbe is like 1 point something times 10 to the negative 14 kilograms. The
amount of stupid is I was looking at that and I was going, you're gonna kill yourself. Please don't do this. Please don't do this. But they'll believe anything he says. So they were like, yep, it's formaldehyde. He was talking about formaldehyde. I'm like, no, he wasn't. No, he wasn't.
Someone made a really interesting thing, and I thought just when I read it, I was like, wow, because Donald Trump's whole thing is first it's a hoax, then he's not funding people, he's refusing to allow ventilators and stuff like that, and now he's pushing hydroxychloroquine, which does nothing and can end up killing people. And then he said that you should inject bleach. And then it's like, at some point you have to wonder, he's trying to kill you. He's actually actively trying to kill his constituents.
I sometimes wonder that, but then I also go back to remembering when he said, and this is an actual Donald Trump thing here, where he said that the body only has a finite amount of energy, and if you exercise, you use up that finite amount of energy, and then you don't have any. Your body's just born with a certain amount of energy, and that's it. He also said the sound from windmills give you cancer. This is what they're taking their medical advice from. The sound from windmills gives you cancer, and you have a finite amount of energy.
It's like those people who say that 5G will give you cancer.
Don't even get me started. Have you seen the
5G runs at frequencies that are less intense than visible light.
But that's what's causing that's what's causing coronavirus right now. Don't you know that 4G is causing coronavirus? And
Oh, sorry.
throw your 5G away. My phone here has the little thing that you can add on to the 5G, so I guess I shouldn't go buy that when 5G becomes available in my area because I'm gonna die. And I don't want to die. No, I'm gonna buy 5G because my internet is unreliable and my phone works so much better. No, just no. Living in the country in the United States, your internet is only reliable half of the time.
All right. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Because we've been going for about an hour, so I want to try and keep things to an hour, maximum an hour and a half. Because we can always come back and do it again. So
we definitely should do this again because this was kind of fun. I've enjoyed hearing the sciencey side and being able to be like, yeah, this is what people actually think. But for hydrochloroquine, the 5G, the fact that he's taking it, I think we covered most of it. I think I might think of it later. My brain runs, which is why I don't do lives and I can edit out all of my.
Fair enough.
Because I rant.
Is there any is it like anything that the chat really wants to hear about or talk about? Shadow Griffin says, yep, Trump has cancer for sure. Polls showing that he's losing key states. I really hope so. Because the thing is, I don't think America realizes how influential it is in world politics. I mean, if Australia had Trump, nobody would give a shit.
But it's bad because one of our states alone has like what? California is the 9th biggest economy. I think it is just California alone. We have one of the biggest economies. We have, well, not anymore because world leaders think that Trump's a joke, but we were the most influential when it came to setting public policies and things like that. And when you take us out of that sphere and you give us Trump, you have people in Africa ODing on hydrochloroquine because they heard the president of the United States saying it's a thing. And when it reaches that far, it's a problem.
Exactly.
It's a huge problem. And we're responsible for it. And even that, like, a lot of people also don't think that if we don't vote him out now, if you think about the consequences that he has, now imagine when he has no checks and balances, because you know the Senate's not going to check him. When he's not worried about being reelected, and he can just do whatever he wants. He's going to take what is left of our Constitution and he's just going to throw it out the window and do what he wants because he's already doing it anyway. When he knows there's absolutely no consequences for it, he's already joking about making himself a permanent leader, and that terrifies me. Because Donald Trump is our permanent leader. I'm afraid I'm moving to Australia. I'm just going to come if he does that. Because I can't do it here. I love my country, but I can't do a whole lifetime of Trump and the Trump family. I can't. I just can't.
I actually think that that's not going to happen. I do genuinely think that's not going to happen. I actually think there's a very good chance that Trump is going to win for next term. I do actually think that because, as I said, 35% of you are in a cult and they're doing everything they can to stop people from getting their to people who are who are more likely to go out and do paper ballots and stuff like that. I think it's going to come in, but I genuinely don't think he's going to be able to survive a second term. And once that happens, he's going to be leaving the White House to get into the back of what we call a paddy wagon, which is in handcuffs.
You have more faith in my justice system than I do at this point, because there are more people interested around me in investigating Obama than they are in the active corruption.
I think there is enough. I would say that there is enough evidence.
I think so.
There has to be, because if he doesn't go to jail after his presidency, then the world's fucked.
Yep. Yeah, but I do genuinely worry because I don't know. It's maybe just because I'm in Trump territory and all I hear is Trump stuff, and I don't get to see, even though my state votes blue, my area is like right across the street from me is a giant Trump flag. So yay! But I don't know.
Ricardo makes a good point. He goes, these new right-wing populists are a global menace. The social, ecological cost of Trump, Bolsonaro, Duterte is still not accounted. I actually would agree with you on that one. I think Trump is in the line of right-wing populists. Oh yeah, and the Shea Bapoon Johnson, yes, and also Australia's got right-wing populists, but it's not as extreme. There has been a major shift, and Duterte, I think, was one of the first ones to come in, and he's become a lot more. You're making faces.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just thinking of something I wanted to ask you before I got off that I could clip. Can you please tell my audience, guys, you're in Australia, can you please tell my audience, A, the wildfires were real? Because I hate people telling me the wildfires were not real. Please, someone from Australia. She's from Australia, so I
am from the imaginary land down under, and yes, the fires were real. I was smelling smoke for at least a month and a half, 2 months. They came really, really close, and I live in a city. I have a friend, yes, they actually happened. And
the other thing is...
And they weren't caused by arsonists. There was nothing to, arsonists were a factor, but blaming arsonists is like they started it, but the fact that they were so bad was because of climate change. Okay, it was just, there was no more activity with arsonists than there were from previous years. Okay, and anyone who says fuck you, honestly,
thank you,
fuck you. Anyone who says that, who put fuck you, because those bushfires, my country will never recover from. It has destroyed habitats. It has destroyed people's lives. It's like decades. Some places and literally decades or never. Anyway, again, a special fuck you to a particular vegan who I won't mention in this.
Okay, and the next one, that just so I have it as a sound clip, you are not pushing hydrochloroquine. You're not taking it. Everybody in Australia is taking it. It is not some huge miracle cure over there that our mainstream media is just not covering.
Yeah, no, it's not a miracle cure, and anyone who thinks that it is should go and read actual scientific video, scientific things, like papers. So hydrochloroquine is not a thing. Just read those papers. Do your own research. Do your own research. Trust scientists. If a group of scientists are actually talking against what the government is putting out, then you can't say, oh, this is a government conspiracy, because, it's not. It's the same thing with climate change. Governments are saying, oh, it's not a thing. And yet scientists are going, yes, it is. How is it a hoax? That's the thing. If scientists are going against what the government is saying, then trust the scientists. Often they're in line because, sometimes governments talk about, agree with the science. However, if the science is going against what the government is, go with science. Okay.
Yes, completely.
Just
and
do that.
It's incredibly frustrating. It's people are just not the smartest in the entire planet. I'm not going to say it's not the smartest. They're stuck in that mindset of
It's just really interesting how people will trust the government until it's something that isn't
or Q. Q is literally the single most frustrating thing in my entire life. The Q conspiracy, I deal with it every day. I live with it. With the whole, they believe an anonymous person on the internet who is never, ever right on anything. And they're like, yeah, he said that No, he came off of 4chan, and you can't even tell me it's the same person every time. Please stop quoting Q. Please stop. Just if you're bringing Q into the argument, I need to walk away now because I can't do it anymore.
Just there is another video. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna shell my videos, but these are all the ones that I talk about are very well related to this conversation. I did a video called "How to Pick a Good Scientific Journal." It is quite old. It's just under a year old, and it explains how to pick a good scientific journal. I got all of the information from a podcast called Skeptic's Guide to the Universe. Please, if you're interested in science and really good science communication, Skeptic's Guide to the Universe, mwah, beautiful. But that video was based on something that Steve said about, how to pick a good scientific journal. So please go and check that one out as well, and also listen to that 8-minute clip, and listen, and that gives you a really good base understanding of what a good scientific journal is. So it's just so frustrating.
Listen to her. She's more educated than I am. You just don't. If you're coming here from mine, just go to her. Her stuff is more scientifically based than mine, and it explains a lot more, and you don't have to listen to me rant. So that will help you a lot.
Fair enough. All right. Well, I think if we were to... we've been going for about an hour and a bit. Would you like to finish up now?
Yeah, that works for me. I'm going to go dye my hair green, so...
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's my next thing on my list to do today, so yeah.
Dyeing your hair green. That's fair enough.
I'm bored and I need something to do. I've been in the house for almost 3 months. It's time to dye my hair some funky color and see if it works.
Also, before we do go, you're hungry, I know. Oh, you missed me. Come on, you. Come on, I know you want to eat me. There we go. This is Thyla.
Aww. I love snakes. Snakes are awesome.
Anyway, yeah, she tried eating me, but she missed. She's hungry.
She's beautiful.
She's gorgeous. She's like the friendliest little thing. She is so cute. Yeah.
The only snakes I'm allowed are the ones in my backyard, and they're not friendly.
Anyway, so Mary, shill yourself, please.
I'm not good at chilling myself. My link to my channel, I guess, is down below. I don't know. I'm not. This is why I stick to my own lane. I'm not good at chilling myself at all. Just my channel link is down below if you're interested. Go check it out. And once again, if you are coming over here because you're one of my rage watchers, which tends to be most of my watchers, subscribe to her channel. Be nicer to her than you are to me, and watch the science stuff. It will help you. It will help you a lot, and you will maybe learn something, maybe listen with an open mind about it, and yeah.
Okay, so my name's Navadia, and yeah, just come if you're here. Thank you for joining, everyone. I really enjoyed this chat, Mary. Thank you so much for coming on. This is so exciting to have you on. As I said, I'm kind of fangirled over having you on.
Same.
So yeah, anyway, I hope everyone has a lovely day, evening, night, whatever time you're watching this, and don't forget, don't give yourself the raw prawn.
Bye, guys. Do I just log out now?